Hi, and welcome to the board wrap-up show for the Ponca City Public Schools for July 2016. We have a special guest as Bret Smith filling in for Dr. Pennington, who is out of town for the recording of our meeting. We're happy to have Bret along. We get him about 2 or 3 times a year, and it's a different face, a different voice. How's the summer going, Bret?
Well, fast and furious. Lots of projects going on, and it seems like there's just so little time to get it all done, get them cleaned up, get them ready to go, and get those kids back into school. We start quick.
We start from when we're recording our program right now about 3 weeks, so it's not far off, is it?
It sure is, and it gets a little tense when it starts getting that close, and you don't feel like you're quite ready.
One of the things that July usually brings is some discussion about building projects and some of the things that are taking place not only over the summer, but that will take place into the upcoming school year. And I know that there was an update on that. Can you pass that along to us?
Yes, I can. One of those projects is right across the street at East Middle School. We've got a lot going on over there. If folks would drive by, they'll see the new windows going in. We're trying to make it a little bit more historic and bring white or almost white colored windows in, framed windows anyway, to kind of give it a historic look. A little bit modern style, but they're getting those accomplished, and they're making sure that all the areas where students are going to occupy, their classrooms, the office area and so forth, are done first, just in the event that weather delays some of those projects. And you know how weather can do around Oklahoma, especially here. It can slow down the process, but they're making great headway. Some of those areas that they may not get completed or at least put off till last will be like the auditorium spaces and some other closet areas, they have some windows in them. So that will be maybe going on a little bit into the school year. We'll put blinds on those windows as well, so that will also may just go into a little bit of the school year, but they're going to work nights and weekends in order to get that accomplished so they don't disrupt classes, so we really don't have any concerns about it.
That's great. One of the projects that has been going on for quite a while is the remodeling of Trout School. Are they going to be able to open up on time?
Yes, they are. It's they did a wonderful job out there. It is all but completed already. Their end date for all of our projects is August 1. That way it gives us a couple weeks before school starts to kind of get things settled in, clear out some of the dust, pack the shelves with books and so forth. But that project is a really nice project. We've got new lockers going in within this next week. All the classrooms are ready. The teachers are moved in. They're in their rooms. They're trying to get things squared away. The office space is not quite occupied yet, but there's a few odds and ends and trim pieces yet to do.
When you look at the last 2 years, two major building projects, Washington Elementary was involved, but Woodlands and then Trout. From just an outsider's view, it looked like the transition of not one but both of those schools, for a lot of disturbance for students and parents, it was pretty seamless, Bret.
It really was. Kudos to the staff. Woodlands, unfortunately they were the guinea pigs. They got to do that transition first, and they just really, they went in, they took care of it, they talked to their parents and their teachers, everybody got on the same page, and it went so well. Now then Trout just had to follow their lead, so they broke the ground and it worked out very, very well.
A lot of communities doing something like that wouldn't be possible. But I think Ponca City just kind of grasped it and said, this is what we're going to do, and if it's an inconvenience for a year. And so kudos, I think, to those parents for making sure all their students got to class on time.
Well, absolutely, and the teachers. It's very stressful on the teachers. They've got to deal with those kids. They've got to keep them on a positive upbeat. So they're being displaced from their home school, going to Washington Elementary for a year and then back again. It's a little bit of a disruption, but they kept them positive. The teachers stayed upbeat, and I think the kids performed well as far as I know.
Now, speaking of Washington Elementary, it takes on a whole new title as we approach the next school year, and there's also some work that's being done on the playground, I understand.
Yes, the board approved a new set of playground equipment out there, trying to get it to the level of the pre-Kers, so it's a 2 to 5 year old, and then we'll probably do some expansions within the near future if all this works well. We're real excited about the pre-K center. It's a new concept that we've got. But I think the teachers are excited as well. Now they've got some collaborative efforts between all pre-K teachers in one location. But that playground equipment that is currently at Washington Elementary is for older kids, so it'll be moved out, and then we'll put the new stuff in from AAA Playground, and it's going to be very nice. I think they're going to really enjoy it.
Well, if you've lived in this community a long time, that playground gets used a lot of different ways by a lot of different kids, and
Year round.
And so that's going to be a great update for not only the kids that go to school there, but for our community as well.
It will. All of our schools are accessible for the playgrounds by the community after school,
Sure.
weekends, during the summer. So, they've got to be kept up, they've got to be maintained, and they've got to look nice. So, yeah.
What other schools, Brett, will see maybe significant changes as students and teachers come back in the fall of 2016?
We have a lot of projects all over town. You mentioned Trout over on the north side of town. Liberty is getting a facelift on their entrance. Part of the bond issue, we told everybody we were going to put safe entrances, a safety vestibule in all the buildings, and that's what we're doing. So Liberty gets that upgrade along with some ADA improvements, a chairlift and an elevator. It has a lot of elevation. Don't have a lot of elevation changes in that particular building, so there's no need for a lot of ramps. So we're building that there. East Middle School, I mentioned the window project, but we're also redoing their safety vestibule area. That was the very first school that we did. It's been probably 6 years now that we built this safety vestibule in, where people had to come into the office without going into the rest of the building, be vetted with a lobby guard by scanning their driver's license, and to make sure that they were allowed in the school, and then they could get a badge and go on about their business. But that was 6 years ago. A lot of things have changed since then, so we're putting in some bullet resistant glass, making sure that they are locked in this vestibule area. That way they're safe from not only the kids and the teachers, but the office staff as well. That's what we're doing to all the buildings. Garfield has that particular safety vestibule right now. It's going to have some upgrades at a later time. It just didn't happen this summer. Lincoln Elementary, we've been doing a lot out of that building. We put the new HVAC in it and the new roof. And now this year we're bringing the office forward, building that safety entrance, and putting all the support services for the office all in those two front classrooms that were previously kindergarten, or pre-K actually. And so we moved them over to Washington, got them out of the way, and then took the old office space and made them into more support service classrooms. Kind of they're the Title VII classrooms and counselors and those kinds of things that are right there close. So that is going on. Roosevelt is another school that did not have that safety entrance. It doesn't get a lot of things in the office space, but we are stopping patrons and visitors before they get into the school to be vetted by a lobby guard. So those are the areas that we've really taken a lot of attention to this summer, and you'll be able to see some of those. Some of them you won't see so much. Like Roosevelt, if you drive by, you really can't see it because all the work's on the inside.
Ponca City voters passed a significant bond issue last year, and people that don't follow it as closely just think that automatically those things are going to pop up and you'll see them. It's not the case, but there's two projects that I wanted to ask if there is some discussion on, and one would be our football stadium, and the other would be the concert hall.
We're doing a lot of good, having a lot of good meetings with our engineers and design architects, the staff, the football coaches, athletic department, as well as the instrumental music department on all of those new projects. Our bond issue, when we passed it, it was a 6-series bond issue. And so we will approve the bonds every year for 6 years. But we took out a lease revenue section of this bond issue so we could have the money all at one time. So instead of 6 years to finish all the projects, we hope to finish them all in 3. So that makes a whole lot of work in a short period of time. Now that's exciting in itself, but it means that we're going to have a whole lot of construction going on at the same time. The high school in the athletic complex, my gosh, that is going to have such a facelift. New press box on top of Solon Stadium with an elevator. A new football dressing room that'll be located in the east end zone. A weight training facility which will be located south of the wrestling room addition. Then we're going to take the old football dressing room and redo it and repurpose it into other locker rooms for visitors and soccer and track and so forth. And let's see, I think that's pretty, and a fence and ticket booths. So when we get started on that whole project, it's really going to look nice.
Trying to keep Sullen Stadium as historic as possible, but giving it a new look and a new facelift, right?
Absolutely, and that goes along with the interior of Robson Fieldhouse. We're going to put a couple $1 million in that building as well. It was probably one of the premier locations back in the 70s and 80s and probably even the 90s in the state. It was a very nice gymnasium. A lot of people really looked forward to going and performing in that particular venue. Now then it needed an update. We put an elevator, put in a new lobby a couple years ago. Now we're going inside. We're going to remove the ceiling. We're going to change the lighting. We're going to add some better air conditioning and heating units to it, do some painting, replace that gym floor. You know, that gym floor has been there since 1974, 75 when it was built, and it's been sanded a few times and refinished. Well, it's to the point where it can't be sanded anymore. So we're going to put a new floor in it as well. So that will take on a nice new facelift, so to speak, into that venue as well. So we're really excited about it.
When all of this work is done and you and school officials sit back, do you hope that Ponca City is again, and we have been and will be, but kind of the premier as far as sport facilities are concerned, or at least at par with some of the biggest schools?
You know, I really believe that. I don't know if Boone Pickens ever really said this, but you know, you did hear about it in Field of Dreams. You build it and they will come. You know, if you have nice facilities like OSU has, if we have nice facilities like Ponca City should have, and we will build, then, you know, I think it makes a bigger atmosphere. It brings upon an excitement. The kids will want to come to school here. They want to be involved in the Ponca City schools. Sure, I think if they have pride in their location, their school, it'll all get better.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the concert hall at our high school? Are the plans still the same as they were when we exited 2015-16?
Yes, the city has voted to take down the Hutchins Memorial, and we are in negotiations with them right now, and they are going to, like I say, tear it down, and we're going to build the concert hall in its location. We'll get a 99-year lease from the city, and as soon as that's all settled and done, then we'll begin construction of the concert hall. That has been quite a process. You know, I'm getting a lot of education on sound. You know, we got our Troy Lewis Associate Architects has hired Eric Seifert with K2 Audio, who's an acoustician, who tells us how to build it so we have the right sound. You know, so we don't have to enhance it with microphones and those kinds of things if we don't want to, but it'll be built in such a way that you can talk to somebody on the platform. It's not a stage, and somebody in the back will be able to hear you whisper. You know, that in itself was I just couldn't believe everything that goes into that kind of science to make that work so well.
Is it kind of the theory, Brent, that if we're going to go ahead and build it, if we're going to go to this expense, then it might as well be the best in the state?
Well, absolutely, and not only will it be the best in the state, it'll be the only concert hall for any school in the state. So we'll be number one again.
Wow.
You know, so it's going to be very, very neat. It is not a performing arts center, because, you know, originally that's kind of what we thought we were going to do way back when, but it is not. It is a concert hall, music venue only. The platform, which is not a stage, won't have a proscenium arch, won't have curtains and so forth. The stage or platform is in the same room as the audience, so everybody is going to listen to the same thing in one room. It really makes it very exciting to get that accomplished.
Exciting times, big things going on with our schools. A couple of other housekeeping things that took place. I'm sure people may have seen that the school is voting on whether or not to count hours instead of days as far as instruction is concerned. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah, every year the board has to approve the option of using not days for school time for kids to be in their seat, but hours as well. If you can count hours instead of days, it allows you more flexibility in how many days that you actually get to go to school, because they divide it into hours. The board has to approve that each and every year. This was just we have to get started before the school starts. Give them that option. We don't always do that. We didn't do it last year, but in the event that we need to, when we have budget crisis and those kinds of things, or a lot of snow days, those switching from days to hours gives us flexibility to have those days.
Outstanding. Bret, anything else about the Board of Education meeting for July that you wanted to mention to our constituents?
You know, July is just like June. We approve a lot of contracts that are set and ready to go for the next coming school year. So this meeting wasn't much different, maybe on a smaller scale than in June, to approve contracts for software programs, for hiring therapists, for lots of different personnel issues to get ready for the school year that's coming up. So you know, it was pretty easy. It was a pretty quick board meeting, but kind of you know, business as usual.
Enjoy it, because I have a feeling come August that the board meetings may not be as fast as this one was too.
They do get a little bit longer as the school year goes on.
Bret, enjoy the rest of your summer, and thanks so much for joining us on our show today.
Thank
Bret
you.
Smith with the Ponca City Public Schools on our board wrap-up for July.